So I have time for one short story, less than 3 days long, and one last song. And then we have questions and answers as long as you want. I'll be here the rest of the day. So if it's in the lobby or whatever, somewhere, some way, I'll be answering questions that you may have. So I have one last story, and that story is called The Rainy Sunday. Okay. I was $300 short on rent, and it was a rainy Sunday. On the way out to the bus stop, the manager of my apartment complex, he stopped me. He said, I hate to tell you this. I hate to tell you this because I kind of like you. But the owner of the building said, if rent is late again this month, this will be your last month here. I was like, oh man, I like you too. Like, this guy was really cool. I was in the Army, he was in the Navy. We gave each other a really hard time about that. So he had this tattoo on his arm of a lady in a hula skirt, and when he flexed his arm, she'd wiggle her hips. Like, I don't know how he did it, but he would just sit there, and I just stared at that for the longest time. It's like, man, you guys in the Navy, you had it made. Anyway, so he would do that. And I was thinking, okay, now I got to come up with first and last. There's no way I'm going to make no $300 at the Pike Place Market as a street performer, because even on my best days, I didn't make $300. So this was a rainy Sunday. That's 2 strikes against me right then and there. And there's rules about, laws or whatever about street performing at the Pike Place Market. There's these red notes that are painted on the sidewalk, and you have to get a permit from the Pike Place Market Authority, and then you'd have to set your case down and open your case, and that's when your time starts. The top of the next hour, you got to give up that spot for the next performer. So if they put their case behind your case, then you got to give up that spot. Well, because it was a rainy Sunday, I never had to give up the spot, because nobody wanted to play on a rainy Sunday because they knew it was 1, raining, and 2, it was a Sunday. That was 2 strikes against them. But I did. From 10 o'clock in the morning until 6 o'clock at night, I street performed, hoping to make something close to rent. But I was starting to think about bus fare home as a concern rather than just rent. And so 6 o'clock in the morning, or 10 o'clock in the morning until 6 o'clock at night, no one put their case behind me. And I noticed around the 4th or 5th hour, I had blisters underneath the calluses of my fingertips. It kind of felt like toothpicks were being poked up my fingernails. So I'd stop playing every once in a while, and I'd shake my hand, and that would get circulation into it, and that would make it even worse. It actually hurt less to just keep on playing. So I just kept on playing. Now, it's close to 6 o'clock, closing time. This man starts walking toward me, and in street performer body language, he's looking down and into his pocket. And I'm like, yes, bus fare home. Let alone, maybe I could pick up a Big Mac or something on the way. And he's reaching into his pocket, but instead of pulling out a dollar bill, he pulls out what I call Christian tracts. You know what those are? They're flimsy pieces of paper that give you the 4 steps to salvation. And he's about to put that in my empty violin case when I told him in, shall we say, non-Christian terms. I said, I don't need no Christian track in my empty violin case. What I need's $300 for rent. You got that in your pocket? And he said, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend you. I said, well, you did. Those Christian tracts, they're all standing up on my windowsill, stacked up. I'm going to see which denomination's going to win at the end of the year. And he said, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend you. I know, I'll tip you if you play Amazing Grace. And I said, all right, I'll play Amazing Grace. I'll play it so bad and out of tune, you won't even be able to tell that it is Amazing Grace. And then you got to tip me because you're a Christian. You got to be a man of your word. And I knew just enough of the Bible to get me in trouble. And then he said, what? It was like, I got to be able to tell that it is Amazing Grace. I said, all right. I'll play it so bad and out of tune, you'll just barely tell that it is Amazing Grace. And then you got to tip me because you're a Christian. You got to be a man of your word. And he said, fair enough. I was like, what? Yeah, you play Amazing Grace as bad as you want, but I got to be able to tell that it is Amazing Grace. I was like, oh, well, all right. So you know how bad I can play, right? I was playing really bad. And I was, but if you listened really closely, you could just barely tell that it was Amazing Grace. Then an interesting thing happened. Around the third verse, my fingers started to play the right notes. I was like, hey, fingers, play the wrong notes, but they just kept playing the right notes. Then it occurred to me, maybe if I play it right for him a couple verses, I might be able to pick up that Big Mac on the way home. So I close my eyes and I'm listening to the song. And I hear the words, not with my ears, but in my heart. And I realized I was being abusive. Rather than owning my own feelings, I was trying to make him feel my feelings for me. I was trying to make him feel as bad as I was feeling. I heard the words. I had this leak on my cheek. It wasn't like when I cry, because when I cry, I get lots of attention because I make a really ugly face. And I was like Native people where I'm from will cry, Native men will cry at the drop of a hat. It's going to be like this. My hat, it dropped to the side. It's all wet. It's like it's all my, someone's going to fix my hat. It wasn't like that. It was just this leak on my cheek. I finished the song. I opened my eyes, and there was a crowd of people about this size. My Christian friend, this time he reaches in his pocket and he pulls out $1 bill and he says to everyone standing there, my friend here, he needs $300 for rent. And he put his $1 bill in my empty violin case. And before all was said and done, miracles were happening. People were asking me questions that street performers dream of. Questions like, excuse me, sir, do you accept checks? Yeah. What about ATM machine? It's up the stairs to the left. And I'm like, wow. So not only did I have enough money to pay my rent that month, I had enough money to produce my first demo CD, A Little Boat in the Big River. Now, why am I telling you this story? I don't know what it means to you to tell you this story, but what it has come to mean to me is that trying to pray is praying. That I don't need a perfect understanding of theology. I don't need a perfect understanding of providence, the spirit of providence. I don't need a perfect understanding of God or my neighbor even. I don't need a perfect understanding of it. I don't need to be perfect to tap into the resources and the abundance of the universe. That I can just simply check in to a moment, be truthful to myself, and allow the love that flows through grace to heal me. This is my version of Amazing Grace. Melcim, Cem Haishka, thank you. Done, but we have enough time for a couple of questions. If you have any questions, you can ask me. I'll provide an answer. I hope it matches.
You said the trees talk to you.
Yeah.
Did you ever have the stars talk to you?
So, just to be clear, talking, communicating is one thing, right? So, stars are, because I'm from the Northwest, like stars are really rare because it's usually cloudy and rainy all the time, right? But I have had some very special moments with stars where by myself I've been able to recognize and acknowledge that I am an essential part of the universe. That even though some people would rather not see me, sometimes because of the color of my skin, in this regard, I am small but mighty. I have the power of the Creator that sits on the throne of my heart. And I have felt the presence of that while looking at a star. Yeah. Yes, sir.
When you were playing violin for that one man, the question I came across is, what changed your heart to make you start playing better, other than your fingers?
I'm tired of being abusive. And I didn't want to abuse him anymore and try to make him feel my feelings for me. That I needed that grace. So that's what made me want to play it. It's like I needed to give myself a break. This is my art. This is my qualitative expression of being. And if it's my art, then I can do whatever I want with it. And so it changed me. That whole experience changed me. I realized that not only does art heal me, it heals the people around me. That I can be angry, I can be upset, but art can help me feel those feelings in the best way possible. And I gave myself a break, played the song the way I know I was meant to play it. Thank you. Yes, sir. The person who made my violin lived or worked at a violin shop on my reservation. The man was from Canada, but he lived on the Lummi Reservation, and it was called Ray's Fiddle Shop. I have one of his fiddles, but she was his apprentice. And it's ironic now, looking back, she was always a better violin maker than he was. Like, she literally went to Stradivari family in Cremona, Italy, to learn how to make violins. In 1983, she came home when computers determined that they could never make a Stradivarius violin again. Now, I'll just remind you, computers were like rooms like this, right? With punch cards and tapes and whirling lots of energy. Like the neighbors' houses would dim when they turn on the computer, right? In those days. 1983 was a long time ago. And they did their analysis of a Stradivarius violin and concluded they could never make a Stradivarius violin again. Well, all the wood from the Cremona, Italy forests that the Stradivari family was saving for when somebody would have the skill set, all that wood prices dropped. So she bought 2 suitcases, trunks of maple wood and spruce wood, and came home and said, challenge accepted. And so she started going around to different people from all over the country, learning from different people. And one of those people was on my reservation in the name of Ray Blank. And I remember coming up and meeting him and telling him I'm a violinist. And it was a beautiful exchange. And she was in the back working, listening to my music. And we became friends soon after that. She's the only person that fixes my violin for anything. She picks the strings, she sets the bridge, the sound post, all of that. She's the only person that touches my violin now. So, and remember that grandmother tree? It fell after Chattaskaden passed away. And I went to that tree, prayed, and took from the core of that tree red cedar. And the pigment of that red cedar is worked into that. And to honor the rest of Native America, Turtle Island, she took clay from Oklahoma and worked that into the stain of this violin. That's why it matches my skin. It's designed to be one with me. Very good question, thank you. She's still a good friend. She's still just a flat out good friend. I see a friend as someone who's in the canoe with me, right? A CM, we call them in our language. Someone held in high esteem, a CM, someone who's in the canoe with me. So I consider y'all my CM. Like you were in this, you could have left at any moment, right? But you stuck around. The kids, that you listened and attentive. I really appreciate y'all for being who you are here today. It's been really awesome. Any other questions? Careful, I might answer them. Yes, sir. Yes? You? We're practicing the oral tradition right here. You like my songs? That's the best question ever. Thank you. Oh my goodness, thank you for that. Yes.
How old were you when you started playing violin?
I started playing my violin in a public school music program. My 4th grade teacher, Kathy Dorr, my hero, forged my parent permission slip. So because of her radicalness, that allowed me to play a school instrument at school, and then after school I'd practice with my buddy. Public school music programs rock, man. I don't know if I would have been able to process the traumas of my early childhood if it wasn't for a public school music program. That and PE. PE on even day, no, PE on odd day, PE on odd days and music on even days. From kindergarten all the way through high school, I had perfect attendance. Engagement matters, man. School, that's a real big reason to have music and PE in schools. Keeps people in. Can you imagine if this creative energy was on a self-destructive path? How destructive I could have been? But music helped me to feel my feelings in the best way I could. Yes?
How did you meet Will Wilson? How was it to take or to have him take your picture?
Are you gonna tell him I said this?
Not to. I just want to know.
Oh no, you tell him I said this. Okay. It was a moonlit night. We were walking on the beach. I cut my foot on a clamshell, then Will Wilson picked me up, carried me to the fireside, and nursed my wounds until the sun rose. You tell him I said that. The arts community is pretty small, right? It's a small world. And somebody knew somebody who knew somebody that you should do this guy, right? And so that's what happened. Yep. But you tell them the other one. Okay, any other questions before we wrap things up? I raise my hands in gratitude, Natsiyam, Natshalaka Siyam, Haishka, family, friends of family, do your best, pray it's blessed, and let the great spirit of love take care of the rest. Bam, I'm out of here. Thank you. Thank you.